He hates religion. You heard it here first, folks. It's Minework Palace again. Kasva and Beasty. HRE will make an appearance again, but this time it's a switch off from Beasty as he hops onto those Mongols on Hill and Dale. Nani? I've been seeing this every once in a while at the moment. Like, I kind of like it. The idea behind Mongols and Hill and Dale, like, you do tend to play a little bit more speedy. I think the important detail is to make sure you balance feudal leading in. The interesting part about Mongols, they don't really balance feudal anymore. This used to be a really good matchup on Hill and Dale when Rednitz Cathedral was free relics, because one of the cool players I've seen, really big shout out to Lucifer for this, he was able to stomp the Muslim by blocking relic access with outposts and then using Yam movement speed to dictate when he took a fight. And it completely screwed the timings. We've seen HRE players kind of move away from their heavy reliance on those relics. I think the difference here is now with people considering the double TC more viable for the HRE, it might be a bit more problematic for BC to reap value out of the midfield. So curious to see what he's got in mind. I'm just kind of expecting a Castle Age rush up. It's been the standard for a long time for the Mongols. I don't feel like it's really changed. One cool play you could consider is maybe going into like Silver Tree as an adaptation. It can just feel a little bit finicky on this map, though, due to the trade post locations, especially in this generation, like across the center. Like, where would you really do this? Also, in that situation, I feel like you're conceding a lot of the midfield, and it might take you longer to get the advantage of Castle up against an HRE player who's going to fully boom. Speaking of going to fully boom, that's exactly what Kasva is going to do. This is possibly the most high-value Arkan Chapel drop location I could ever have imagined. If he does not go for an Arkan Chapel right now, this guy hates religion. You heard it here first. Like, just look at it. Look at it. Berries, gold, deer, wood, your initial sheep. Like, what more do you want? Right now, Arkan Chapel is sitting there going, I've got nothing left to give. Yeah, because you gave everything this game. The Seed Gods are saying we've got nothing left to give. They drain themselves dry. Good God. Let's see how it went on the other side, though. Because it looks like they both got a juicer. Look at this. Beasty with the Uvu, the fat gold vein, and the wood. What is this game? Dude, everyone's getting their cake and they're eating it. And then they're regurgitating their cake and eating it again. Oh, wait. Looks like Beasty says no to cake for Kasva, though. Not only is Beasty floating himself with a lot of sheep coming back, but he's moving in for the blockage on the front side of the base where the Arkan Chapel would want to be. Oh, no. And Kasva, like, do you rush up an outpost? You could. In fact, you could. You need to. I think an outpost here would be really good. You want to protect this area. Like, you want to insulate this central front side. And the good news is, because you have a prelate, you can actually fight with your villagers against the initial spearman. We'll have to see if he does that, though. Realistically, you could just try and shiv him down, like if you can get the Villy quick enough. He hasn't gone for a mill yet, so he can't even get an early wheelbarrow. There we go. So Scout's going to chase the Villy away. Spearmen are rushing out now, but the problem is whether BC's going to be able to get a single outpost down here. It's concerning. I don't see it being likely. We'll have to see. I think the issue is when Kasva allows a second wave of Spearmen to show up. If the second wave of Spearmen get in, the outpost is going up 100%. And wow. He hates religion. You heard it here first, folks. It's Minework Palace again. Kasva handed the possibly greatest spawn option I've ever seen for an Arkan Chapel placement. And he spits in his face. He says, screw you, devs. It's not fair. It's clearly too strong. I want my Minework Palace. My villagers that seem... Wait. Is this more... This feels more realistic, actually. I like the Minework Palace being built because it looks like they're actually working on the interior. It's quite fancy. But yes, Minework Palace coming out again. So it looks like Kasva's in experimentation mode. I just don't know if that experiment's going to last very long. It might just be like college. Brief and done in 3 years. 3 years in game would not be very long. Now the first outpost up denies a lot of equity. No deer access. Wood line's going to be exposed as well. That's your only wood line. This is why the outpost would have been so good. And although you stop him from moving around, like, you're going to have to shift your wood line away. And it looks like there is going to be an outpost coming out because he already realizes what is up. Remember, you're up against the Mongols. The reason it's important to still put this outpost up, despite the fact you've walled, is because a Mongol player will move across here, pop the Falcon, and then give vision for the arrow slits. Cool choice here coming out of Kasva. Important choice coming out of Kasva. Of course, he will be able to garrison. The question is whether he'll be able to keep vision well. I feel like this isn't going to work because if Beastyqt quickly pulls away... Yep. Oh, no. can carry in time. So all you have to do is wait for him to peel away. It looks like he's going to cancel the structure, though. He's not going to force the matter. And he will start crawling in with the outpost. Remember that with the arrow slits, you can still reach across this wood line with the Falcon. I think if you allow Beasty to keep his Khan alive for the next 5 minutes, you're kind of just bound to lose several villages. Like, it's almost undeniable. I think that's the most important detail right now. If Kasva wants to have his game, this Khan needs to die. Buildings also dying is a problem here. Spearman getting some value. Remember, these cost 80 resource each and then 80 passive as he double produced. And he just got 25 food and 25 gold for the mining camp. He's probably going to get the house as well at this rate. It's actually very difficult to stop him from doing that. In fact, you can see, like, unless you want to pull across, he has got the emergency repairs. I would advise doing this regularly just because you don't want to give him the extra resource. Wait, Kasva... Oh, still on cooldown. Okay, so the villager's coming in clutch, and he can't kill the villager straight away, so this is a pretty cool play out of Kasva. This is really smart. And remember, you don't want to even let him burn it, because the moment he burns it, he's going to get paid each time. So if you emergency repair after that, you're just helping him out, essentially. So villager's going to hang here for a while. A little bit frustrating though. Scout trying to move in. Oh, mistakes made. That's a freebie. And that's the emergency repairs. So at least it ensures that he's not going to give the double value over from it burning twice. But now, in a situation where he's maybe less inclined to defend it, as it seems almost inevitable it's going to be going down, that tech up lead that was there for Kasva is no longer. Kasva now choosing to go into the rack, so not even looking towards archers. A peculiar choice here. Most players in this situation would have pushed some archers, but I think the reasoning is that Kasva doesn't want to hang around a feudal, and he doesn't see value in archers in his composition for castle. So he'd rather just prep racks now, get 1 or 2 mana arms to poke and prod these lads away, and then boost up and keep the value of the racks when you start pushing Langstack and mana arms. And well, Kasva desperately trying to keep this house alive. At this point, I would have just said, go ahead and actually heal it so I can burn it again. But the reason he didn't want to lose it is because he was pop capped at that point. He has built another house on this side, so no longer a concern. But Kasva, in a similar situation to last game, like BC, he's so frustrating for this time and time again. This guy just loves closing the map upon his opponent, shrinking the initial starting area to half its size. And he's definitely achieved that. The question mark is what's next. Are we going to see some continuous aggression, or are we going to see a fall back to a castle timing? I like these outposts going down on the side ramps as well. Looks like he wants to deny any equity via relics. So Kaz is very much going to struggle to get that initial boost up once he moves into castle. And right now, he might struggle to just boost up the castle quickly anyway. Like, food is a concern right now. It's something that we haven't even highlighted yet, because so far, he's been kept alive by the sheep. But with barely any sheep left over here, he needs to find a new resource. Because the berries are a little bit too exposed, and the deer are camped right next to the outpost, and they're not leaving there. They know this outpost keeps them alive. They're like, no. The Mongols are our friends. They don't like pro scouts anymore, so they don't like eating deer. And it looks like hard in the stones. Kasva is going to be going for that secondary TC. I wonder if he's planning to play it outside the base. I think he's likely to keep it condensed just because of the Mongol threat. But the cool thing is that this gives you the ability to move out from your initial holdings, which is what he's been missing, right? With the way his base is laid out right now, he can't actually afford to walk villagers out because any loss adds up quickly. And he understands that they are neck and neck villager-wise, and he doesn't want to allow BC to realize his economical benefits without him having some sort of leg up elsewhere. And it will be leg up for leg up, right? TC is going to be a success for Kasva. On the other side, BC saving up now for that Castle Age, which is where he unlocks his win condition. And here we go. Ram now being built up slowly by Kasva. Remember, they nerfed the build speeds, so Rams take a lot longer. Quirky little interaction there as well. Siege engineering being 30% cheaper and getting 30% faster, but it's still a hefty investment of 300 wood. 300 wood that you would have liked to have used for your TC, actually, to be honest. I think that was a mistake by Kasva. I don't know if that was necessarily intended, because notice that he's got a lot of stone. The wood was what was lagging behind, so it seems like he mismanaged his economy a little there. Bit of a mistake. And the outpost crew? Oh my god, Kasva doesn't know. He doesn't see. Wow, he has such little room right now. This is frustrating. He does at least have the rams, so he should be able to get rid of them. But it's going to delay his extension. Like, booming out, fleshing out is going to be a lot more delayed for Kasva than he'd like. The question now is whether BC can move new troops into position before he loses all the outposts. And in fact, I think he can, because the detail that's going to matter here is the fact that... Okay. Didn't know about that with the tab. Is that Kasva doesn't know about these outposts. So you're going to keep a Yam movement speed buffer. It's like a stop-off point, right? It's a refueling station for any raids that Beasty now commits to. And there's no way that Kasva's going to know about it until he sees a golden horde glowing from his rear side. Khan being a little bit frustrating. Tech up. Almost done. Spinman are going to be forced away with man-at-arms, and that outpost will go down. Important timing as well, as Kasva was drained on the food. He finally gets access to much-needed resources here in the deer. And Khan just continue to keep eyeballs on what's happening here. Tech up complete. Castle Age reached. Spearman opting for a very weird retreat pattern here. Means that they won't get away and will be butchered, but whoop-de-doo. 1-2 Spearman, you don't care too much about this. If you get the scout out, you feel good though. And yeah, looks like he'll be able to do so. So, Spearman dead, Outpost dead, Scout kept alive, Vision more important for BC right now. Wait, bro, I wouldn't even call it a sword. What are you doing right now? What, where you at? 6 feet under. Was it worth it? No. Drunk riding right there. Guys, don't ride horses while drunk is the lesson. So Outpost on the west side is at least going to be torched, so Kasva is going to start fleshing out a little. But remember that raid point is now accessible with BC. BC looking to switch up into the Lancers, double production coming out. Unlikely to see a secondary TC on this map. I think the wood is a little bit too budgeted for the Mongols in this layout. You can see the secondary wood line just too far away. So you will need to ramp up aggression. Having the Castle Age up over his opponent will give him that opportunity. And now with the Lancers as well, he should be able to maintain the midfield. And even more so, that midfield isn't just going to be maintained, it's going to be exploited. Prayer Tent built in the center. We'll look to get those monks out and instantly start grabbing up those relics. An interesting choice as well is usually we see BC. He's one of those players that does tend to build the temple back in base and then get the double shaman production. Seems like he hasn't opted for that though. Instead, he's just going to wheel out the first one straight away. I wonder if he's going to leave the Prayer Tent here. I highly doubt it. But he doesn't usually like to pack these up. If I recall correctly, he said he prefers to actually keep the prayer tents unpacked and not mobilize them, just so that he can always get the gold trickle. Looks like man-at-arms have spotted more, and the Ram has discovered the network at the back. So big deal there, and he even spots the other outpost. So no network in the coming minutes for BC, but BC starting to ramp up now with the Lancers moving out. And a 4 TC Kasva with a heavy commitment into eco here. Hanging in feudal for a long time, but is this going to lead to a hanging of Kasva? We'll have to see if he's going to be swinging those ropes. I'm not sure if BC is going to give him that much rope to play with at this rate. He does need to ramp up the pressure, though, if he wants to address this greed, because this greed is, it's not even on a scale of 1 to 10 at this point, folks. It's 11. It has to be. It's just, it's phenomenally well played. Like, I want to just give credit to Kasva for finding a way to do this, but there is a weakness. Like, he's going to run out of resources fast and have to come out. And the issue is, if BC is smart about this, like, he doesn't even need to actively raid in. He could just choose to patrol the midfield, exploit the resources there, and then when Kasva comes out, completely just grind him into dust. BC still no blacksmith, finally coming out now. So this is going to be very delayed. A lot of TC far finding decent effect. We'll finally look to get into that now. Khan has still somehow been sneaking around the back here, so has the vital info on what's happening. And now into the sacred site. So relics being gathered up. Gold trickle starting to really boost up here. In fact, when we look at the income per minute, you can see the numbers are heavily in favor of BC. The food, especially concerning for Kasva. He had to go hard on the wood to be able to pivot into food now. And you can see that layering coming out. And Beasty, he understands the importance of this info. Like, what he's being fed back right now is that Kasva isn't actually ready to come out for another 3 or 4 minutes. He's trying to insulate himself right now. He doesn't want to actually make a mistake where he all-ins on a small contingent of troops. It backfires, and then he has no reserves. And what this means for Beasty is he continues to maintain control in the midfield. He can pick up all the relics he wants, and he still has access to raid into the base from the south side. Here come the horses. Ram is going to be torched down. Definitely found its value, though. It killed, I believe it was 4 outposts in the end. Actually, 5, 6 outposts. Damn. True value found. Double its cost. Now the palisades going up, but the Lancers are already in. No Yam movement speed. Spearmen are starting to come out. The moment you go in, you might not come out. And that's exactly what Kasva says as he shifts the spears across. We force the garrison out here. Lancers move in. Able to snipe down one of the villages. Not enough room to garrison every village here, but too deep for BC to ride. And it looks like he's actually going to try to pull out the other side. However, with the palisades up, the spearman gap closing, this is the problem. Heavy loss here. The Lance could easily go down. Maneuver arrow to try and shift around to the side. He's going the long way around, but there's no way out. You're stuck here. You might as well exploit value. Kill off enough villages to make it worthwhile. And you have to kill a lot of villages, folks. It's free TCs after all. Kasva is going to lose 1 or 2 here. Lancers still feeling quite chunky with the extra 1 pierce armor against the TC fire. But so many stacked defenses. I like this out of Kasva. Like, he really is insulating himself. It's a cool idea. It does have some downsides, which is the wood. You're running out of wood, and you're investing a lot into outposts to make sure all your villagers have a garrison point. And also, if you look at the eco side, like, despite this extra 2 TCs, the eco lead isn't that big. It's still 2 between them, and that is the point of this raid. Like, it's to try and shrink it, to make sure that you can't escalate at a pace that would allow Kasva to come out. And while you can't come out, BC continues to extend his lead. Sacred Site control now on 2 of the 3. Soon to be the 3rd one as well. And on top of that, he's going to end up with 5 relics at this rate. In fact, I think he's picking up a 4th now. The other one's closer. This is going to be 5 relics. A total of 800 passive gold being generated for BC. Income is booming out of control, and Kasva needs to come out soon. And this is the problem when you come out. You gave too much time. You're up against the Mongols. The Yan movement speed isn't the only detail you have to worry about. It's the sprinkled upgrades, baby. This is where it gets frustrating. Kasva in desperate need of something he cannot have. Without a tech up, he has no easy way of sniping out these outposts without losing troops. And every troop loss stings right now because he's so limited in terms of reserve resources. It feels like Kasva's just been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. In fact, it wasn't just his hand. Somehow he got his whole arm in there, and now it ain't coming out. The only way we can actually solve it is not by smashing the cookie jar. It's resistant to that. We're going to have to cut off the arm, Kasva. The question mark, however, is once we cut off that arm, is there going to be any sort of, I don't know, anti-hemorrhage to help you? Is there going to be any way of stopping a bleed out here? Because that's the way it's going. Like, Kasva marched out in the midfield. He starts to get the bad news. He sees this monastery willing away with all the goodies. I think he has to come out. He needs that sacred site torn down. Luckily for him, Beastyqt was a little bit greedy about this. He only secured full control on 2 of the 3 sacred sites because he wanted to double down before shifting across. Well, Spearman will look to go for the decap on the sacred site. Only Lancers means it's problematic to answer, but oh, he catches Kasva not looking. He's busy going for his tech up. That means he's going to snipe a few of these ones out. Lancers starting to be traded out, but not as quickly as you want. The Shaman heals are actually pretty damn effective here. Few Spearmen remaining. Peels them back, so they're actually one-on-oneing instead of actually grouping up to actually stab down any of these Lancers. And it means your whole army is going to be wiped. You don't even decap the sacred site! Win condition alive. BC has a clear goal now. We've been, what, 3-4 minutes maybe so far. Kasva, he will get his tech up, but he's not taking up from a position of power. It's Burgrave Palace. It's an all-in. He needs to get out and he needs to fight. However, this Burgrave Palace does not solve your true problem, which is a quick and easy way of taking out these outposts without losing many of your troops. Oh my. This is problematic. BC's played this to perfection. He hasn't really over-aggressed. You can argue maybe the first few Lancers were a throwaway, but he kept it full in the defense, and now it is a full problem that needs to be answered, and you have a very finite amount of time to do so. I really, really wish we would actually have a timer by now. I was hoping I would go away to Sweden, I'd come back, and they would add one, but no. I believe BC's had control of this for about, I want to say it's been 5 minutes, close to 5 minutes. It's been a while. And I don't see him losing control anytime soon. I feel like Kasva actually only has one opportunity at this. Like, really, like, it sounds like I'm being negative or exaggerated. It's not. It's just the state of the game now that he's in. Look at the military pop cap. BC has 24 premium military units. On top of that, he has all these outposts with sprinkled upgrades. They're worth 2 or 3 military units themselves. And then when you look at the other side, Kasva's sitting at 13 military. He's lagging behind right now. And also, BC did go for the secondary TC in the end, so he's not falling behind at all. In fact, when you look at the eco side of things, they're almost neck and neck. However, the difference is because you have 5 of these relics, you actually have an additional 12.5 Phillies. And on top of that, another tech up. He's into the Imperial Age. He doesn't even wait around. Beasty is just taking it from punch to punch ahead of Kasva at every stage. And I can't believe the state of this game. I can't believe that an HRE player is lagging behind Castle and Imperial back-to-back compared to a Mongol. But this truly is the power of Beasty. White Stupa complete. And Kasva wishes that Beasty would just stoop in this game because he was not stopping anytime soon. He's looking relentless. Breaching through the palisades, probably quicker than the spearman can gap close, and when he floods in, it could be a problem. Peels back though, doesn't want to sacrifice the lance. It's understandable. He doesn't need to go into the base. He just needs to maintain the midfield. Kasva, just as soon as he feels like he's back in this game, he's 2 steps behind again, and now the keep trying to go up. But the Spriorn's able to snipe out some of these villages. Right now, are they going to be able to snipe enough? And more villages being pulled. Kasva fighting tooth and nail to try and actually find a sacred site, find a stake here. But so many villages are going to die for this. And also, at the end of the day, the economical and technological advantages at this stage, Beasty can just change his win condition. It doesn't have to be sacred sites anymore. He's opened the floodgates. Options are on the table. Options that Kasva is without. Wrap around troops. You know, you might have this keep in place, but there's still so many outposts to get through. You're going to be hard-pressed to reach your timing at this rate. And that's why he wants the Siege Workshop. He realizes how fast this has to be. He can't wait around. He can't allow a transition to come out, a counter to come out that Beasty could easily build into in this time. And we've got to be, what, 3 minutes out from that win condition being achieved. Siege Workshop, but no wood to work with. It's 300 wood to build, and he doesn't have the means to get what he needs. Well, he doesn't have the resource to get what he needs, rather. So much economy power coming out from Beasty right now. Economy power for the E-Gamer. Just an impressive fashion for Beasty to play this. I mean, a lot of people, you know, they looked at Beasty, they always talk about him as this hyper late game timing player where he tries to strip the map as much as possible. He doesn't necessarily come out. He doesn't necessarily, like, you know, look to end the game fast. And you can argue that maybe he didn't look to end the game fast, but he looked for a different goal. This wasn't just about taking all the resources away. It was about taking midfield control and punishing Kasva for sitting on his high ground, smoking his pipe and looking down upon the world as if he's better than it. These HRE players that just think that they can boom up safely in their base, but no shot in hell for Kasva in this game. And now Beasty rolling out the double bombard. This is where it gets dicey. Because if you look, it's trebuchets of Kasva. Remember, he's still trailing by an entire age behind the Mongol here. And there is no way that Kasva can protect on all fronts. Down to 8 military pop cap. He's not producing an army. He's still not boosted his eco enough. And this is worrisome. I can see what Kasva's trying to do. He's trying to recover it into Imperial and then get the decap casually. But the opportunity is now missing. If you were going to do this, you had to pull straight away. You actually had to sacrifice a bunch of villages or something along those lines to get it. And that's why Beasty ran his army and dove into the keep. He didn't want to give that opportunity over. He understood that was the only way that Kasva could drag this game out to a situation where he might be able to bounce back. But now the curtains are closing fast. The timer, the doomsday clock is going to 12. And at that point, it's past Kasva's bedtime. Double bombard. Rolling in. Onto the keep. Heavy damage coming in. No answer to that. Villagers won't be able to repair quick enough. It isn't daisy chained in either, so you're not going to get the emergency repairs. And the Russian as well. It looks like Beasty's breached into the base once more. Looking on the villagers, looking on the prelates. Slowing down the economy, forcing everything to garrison, ensuring that Kasva has no way of catching up in Imperial and no way of bouncing back with a military force in Castle Age. Because it is too little too late. All sacred sites under his control. This was the one foothold, the one hope for Kasva. And as the keep crumbles, so too do his hopes of winning this game. Because he can't move out quick enough. He can't decap a sacred site fast enough anymore. With this many troops facing him down, he would be eviscerated simply trying to rush past them. And folks, that is a surgical way to win against the HRE on Hill and Dale. Understanding of timings, understanding the early pressure and when to wheel it back and look for midfield control. BC shows you exactly why you cannot just sit on your ass on the high ground and twiddle your thumbs. Woo. Give me a sec, guys. Just need to send a message quickly. Now we're good. That game was over at 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's jumping the gun. I think it was like a little bit later than that, but that was still really, really well played. Sorry, I was checking a message there. I'm so busy these days. God, I ain't got time for my own stream. What the hell's that all about? But no, that was fantastically played by Beastyqt. It's very surgical. A lot of players would have overinvested. He pulls back at the right time. He doesn't get a little bit too greedy. I think Beastyqt is probably one of the best players at Outpost into Eco Boom Greed that I've seen. And holy crap. Yes, I get it. You want me to drink water. I'm going to stop or I'm going to feel sick. That was a lot of water, actually. I think it was like... It's down here now. It was up there, I think. Thank you for the hydrate. But yeah, I genuinely think Beastyqt is one of the best players at understanding these outpost Mongol rushes. I think a lot of people get bogged down. They hang around a little bit too long into feudal, and then they lose the game. His is some of the cleanest. Like, he's very good at eco manipulation. You notice that he took the double dive, the double dip, right? When he saw that his opponent couldn't handle the first eco advantage he took a second one. And I think that's the difference. Some people I've seen try this kind of eco lead, and they tend to just boom hard, too hard, in fact. They instantly go into, like, the relics and the secondary TC, and their opponent gets an opportunity to punish. But you notice that Beastyqt balances this. He pushes out enough lances to control the midfield, while also layering his base for economical exploitation.